What if all of life came to you with ease and joy and glory? What if that which you've always imagined possible actually is? What if it was possible to create a life you're excited to get out of bed for? Welcome to Creating Beyond podcast. I'm Ashlee Rose, here to introduce you to the tools you can use to create the life you've always dreamed of. Is it time for you to step into everything you came here to be? Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Creating Beyond podcast with your host Ashlee Rose. Now this week I wanted to do something a little bit different. I recently went live in my free business Facebook group called Wing It and Wind Up Wildly Successful, which I'd love to invite you all to if you haven't joined already, if you're not in there with us already. And I had this conversation about stuck, stagnant, overwhelmed, and things are moving fast. And it's a conversation that's so relevant right now and so up in people's worlds, not only in regards to business, but in regards to relationship and with people's bodies, that I got it would be a contribution to share it on this podcast for those of you that haven't listened to it before. And for those of you that have heard it, I wonder what it would create you re-listening to this again. So I hope you guys enjoy this. It is a clip, as I said, from my free group. You can go to facebook.com/groups/winging it in business to join us. And I'll pop a link to join the group in the show notes below. And I hope you have a beautiful week, and I'll see you guys next week for another episode of Creating Beyond podcast. As I mentioned, I haven't mentioned yet, but we have changed tracks for those of you that are not aware. For those of you that don't know what changing tracks is, we have, jumped tracks so many times in the last few months, especially in the last 2 years. And when I say jumping tracks, I really mean when, for example, you're on a train and you're heading in this direction, and then it changes tracks and you're on a completely different track over here. And the thing is, initially, the shift can seem really, really subtle. And then all of a sudden it becomes really obvious that you're actually going in a completely different direction. And for those of you that have been asking for change and choosing more consciousness, then this is definitely, I would say, relevant for you guys. So not only are we actually heading in a different direction, but the old track no longer exists. And the planet has literally jumped tracks to a totally different reality. And the past and the way things used to work in not only business, but relationship with your body no longer actually exists. All the things that we have truly, truly been asking for the past 5, 10 years, 2 years, 6 months have really actually, I don't know if you guys have noticed, started to actualize. And instant actualization is really starting to become a reality for a lot of us. And this can kind of leave a lot of us going to, oh my God, what is actually happening? Because nothing is the same anymore. And the thing is, you can't just change within yourself without your business changing with you, without your body changing, without your relationship changing, because everything begins to change around you. So I wanted to ask you guys, for number one, how many of you are actually using the past as a source of creation? And how many of you are still trying to create your life and your business from the reference points of the past? And that can even just be the reference points of 1 month ago, of 2 months ago, of 2 weeks ago. The past is, this worked yesterday, why is it not working for me today? And that's what I've noticed has kind of been coming up for me in business, is all these things that kind of used to work and the way I used to create, I'm trying to create from that space, and it's not working the way it used to. So if you're trying to create from the reference points of the past, does that work? No, because you're now creating from a past that technically never existed, because time is a construct. So everywhere you guys have jumped tracks, or your business has jumped tracks, and you haven't actually truly acknowledged it, will you guys destroy and uncreate everything that doesn't allow you to acknowledge it in totality now, please? Thank you. Right, wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine shorts, boys, povids, and beyonds.
For those of you that are listening to this for the very first time, that really weird sentence is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. You can go to theclearingstatement.com for more information. But for me, it is my total magic wand to shift and clear the energies that those questions or what we're talking about brings up. I get in 200 years' time is going to be the new way of the future. And it's going to be what everyone's probably using to clear and transform energies with ease. And the other clearing I want to do is what judgments, agendas, inventions, and lies are you using that keeps you referencing the past as a source of creation that decays the future you could be choosing? And everything that is times a gazillion, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pon and pock, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. So what judgments, agendas, inventions, and lies are you using to create the dominance of evil equals mediocrity times corruption squared that keeps you referencing the past as a source of creation that decays the future you could be choosing? And everything that is times a gazillion, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pon and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povits, and beyonds. And right now, I want you guys, and again, for those of you that are listening to this for the very first time, I want to do some sixes with you. And when I say do some sixes with you, I mean when we it's kind of like throwing energy, like throwing sixes, but a six is to actually undo the memory of the past. So we no longer use that memory to actually try and recreate or create your future. And again, if you guys are in any way referencing your past to create the new future that's actually opened up and become available, then you'll be sticking yourself. So let's do some six to completely undo the memory of all past and all reference points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Oh, that was cool. I've done quite a number of those in the last few weeks. Awesome. So with that, I want you guys, if it's fun for you, to start asking this question, which is what I've been playing with. If I had no reference points, what would I choose here? How would I create? And what would be possible now? Because when there's no reference points anymore, then really you have to start playing with a question: what's my reality and where do I find it? And how can I or would I create that's different if I had no reference points of the past? What come up I did a call last night called Intimacy with Business. And what come up is something I heard Diva Diaz, she's another Access Consciousness certified facilitator. I was listening to one of her calls and she was talking about money and business being a reality or a non-reality. And it come up in last night's call when I started speaking about it. And I wanted to kind of speak to this with you guys as well. And just follow the energy with this when I ask you guys these questions. But the first question is money a reality or a non-reality for you? What comes up? You can pop it in the chat if you desire. And then for business, is business a reality or a non-reality for you? If you get any of those as a non-reality, it doesn't mean that they're not real, but it means the constructs that money and business are don't actually apply to you. The thing is, like, what if you have an entirely different reality with money and business? And I know if you're here, you're probably aware of something different. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in a Winging It Facebook group. You'd be in the group that is telling you how to create the systems or the structure to create the right business for you. But the thing is with that, if money and business are a non-reality for you and the constructs of how they're created in this reality don't apply to you, how many of you are actually still trying to function from other people's realities when it comes to business, which is creating the stuckness, the stagnation, the overwhelm, or the confusion? Or how many of you are actually still trying to create, again, like I mentioned, from the last track that you were on? So everything that brings up for all of you, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So what I wasn't recognizing is, until I really got this information, that business for me is a non-reality. But the thing is, if it's a non-reality, then can anyone actually validate what your reality with business is? No. How many of you are looking to somebody else or this reality to actually validate what your reality with business is? And how many people's realities are you actually making relevant to you? So this is why, if you try and function from this reality, from everything we're taught we're supposed to do in this reality, it doesn't actually work. And the thing is, most of us actually decide it doesn't work because there's something wrong with us and we're messed up. But what's actually true is because it's actually not your reality. And I know for a lot of you listening to this, you're like, yeah, I get that. I've heard that before. But have you truly acknowledged that it's not your reality? How often do we try and do things the way others are actually doing them? You have to show up on social media this amount of times. You have to go live this amount of times. You have to do this, then you have to do that, and you have to do Facebook ads. How excited are you by that? For me, not very excited at all. So when you have all of this stuff as a non-reality, you have to begin to ask, what's my reality here and where do I find it? And the other part of this is, how many of you are looking for like the probabilities of what choosing this will create, of what choosing this won't create, rather than the possibilities of what's now available to you on this new track? Because the thing is, if you're trying to do business from the space of logic or from the space of your mind or from the space of answer or trying to figure it out, then you're actually completely dismissing and rejecting the place and the space where you can be you in business. And for me, what I noticed is what creates the overwhelm and the stuckness and stagnation is everywhere I am looking for the answer, looking for the right way to do business, and not actually acknowledging how much everything has changed and what is now available to me that's never been available before. And so people are saying, never, not at all. Someone says, I have so much resistance to social media. Yeah, and again, it's like, what if that resistance wasn't wrong? And is that resistance everywhere you're trying to do social media like everybody else does it? And if you asked, if I had no reference points for the way social media is done in this reality, what would be possible for me and what could I create with it that I've never considered or acknowledged before? This is where you guys, particularly with everything changing so much, particularly in business, you have to truly be at the forefront of constantly asking questions. Questions is what opens up the doorway to all possibility. If you're looking for an answer, or you conclude that you have resistance, or you conclude that this isn't working, or you conclude that you're stuck, can anything actually, like, how much possibilities are you actually eliminating in that space? So with all of that, and this is what I've been asking, how much, like, how out of control do I have to be willing to be right now? And if you've made any of the overwhelm or stuckness real, ask, what chaos can I instill into my business today that would create the future I've been asking for right away? Because what I've noticed is control is no longer working on the new track. And I am a control freak in my business of magnitude. I try and I micromanage everyone. Sarah would know this. And it's not working, because now more than ever, what I'm seeing is it's just not working to expand my business. And it never really worked, but somehow it was actually working greater than it's actually working now. So you want to ask, like, what chaos can I instill into my business today to create the future that I've been asking for right away? And with that, you guys also want to, if you're not doing this already, and this is one of the 101 tools of Access Consciousness, is destroy and uncreate your relationship with your business every single day. And I am honestly someone that has been not using this tool because it's like, oh, whatever, that's so easy. Like, how can that change so much? And I've been really, really present with it the last few weeks, and it's been changing things dynamically. So what if you truly began to, if you're not already, every morning, it just takes a second to, so you can just say, like, everything my business was yesterday, everything I was yesterday, everything my relationship with my business was yesterday, I destroy and uncreate that times a gazillion. Right, wrong, good and bad, pun, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And you're not literally destroying and uncreating your business, you're destroying and uncreating all the lies, or the points of view, or the judgments, or the constructs you're functioning from that keep you from actually knowing and having what's true for you. So there's that. The other thing, I've written all these dot points down because this is all the stuff that's been coming up for me. If you have any questions, pop it in the chat too. Hello. The other thing is I've been reading a book called Deep Work. Now, for me, it's actually not very, is it called Deep Work? Maybe it's not called Deep Work. I'll actually get you the name of the book. The idea that I've been playing with is called Deep Work. What this book is about is, as I said, it's quite challenging for me to read, but it is a really great book. But what it's actually talking about is everywhere we are distracted, like everywhere we use social media and our phones these days, and like everything else that's going on in the world to actually distract us from having our reality. How many of you, and this is definitely me, and it's been changing, wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is you actually look at your phone? And you might be on your phone for half an hour scrolling without even recognizing that you're doing it. And if that's not something you're choosing, how often are you actually picking up your phone every single minute or 5 minutes of every single day? And really these days, it's not very common for people to not be on their phone constantly or have it next to them. Now, why I'm saying this is because on this new track, like with everything that's changed, we're more aware than ever before. And I really mean that. And I'm still actually getting what that actually is for me. So when this book talks about deep work, they actually talk about setting aside a period of time where you're actually not on your phone, where you're actually not distracted by anything, where you can sit down and get present with either using tools, having a conversation with your business, writing content, like whatever it is you have been desiring to get to. What I've been doing, and not every single morning, but I've been playing with this over the last few weeks, is I've been getting up and my phone is on airplane mode overnight. I've been leaving my phone to the side when I first wake up, getting up, have a coffee if I want a coffee, and I've actually sat down and been present with my business. I've started doing energy pulls, and for those of you that are just new in here, I gifted you guys, I did an energy pull for business weeks ago, I guess, but we can pop the link kind of in these comments as well. I've been doing an energy pull, destroying and uncreating my business, and getting really, really present with my business. And that has been changing so much. And I know it seems like such a small thing, but what happens is when I'm present with my business initially in the morning, I'm then not creating my day or my business that day from my awareness of everybody else's realities, everybody else's points of view, everybody else's judgments. Because the thing is, like for most of us, when we read things online or we're on social media, you will literally take on board everybody else's realities and points of view and make them yours within a millisecond before you've even realized you've done it. I can't tell you the amount of times that I'm on social media and I get off and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm not sure what happened, but I was really happy and now I'm not. And that's when I noticed when I'm on social media is when I go into the stuckness, the stagnation, the overwhelm when it comes to business. And sometimes I'll let that stop me from kind of being present with my business and creating anything with my life that day. So when I talk about deep work, I know this sounds really boring, but it's like, what time or space can you actually create in your day, whenever that is for you, that you really sit down and you get present with your business and you start to expand your space and you go from being totally contracted into everyone else's reality into having your reality. So Sarah says it's a biggie for me. Social media detox coming up. Honestly, it's been like changing my world. So the thing is, when we change so much, when something changes like hugely and dynamically, which I'm sure a lot of you have been experiencing a lot of change right now, it's like we don't actually have any barriers. So the thing is, like, you have to begin to ask, like, how much space can I occupy to have total ease with the awareness I'm having? How much space can I occupy to have total ease with the awareness I'm having? Because how much of, again, if you're going into this like stuck, stagnant energy, overwhelm, not sure what to create, not sure what to choose next, how much is that is actually you contracting, and you're contracting your space into this reality? For me, I was contracting my space into this reality to try and locate me, because changing so much, it's like all of a sudden all these definitions of me have totally disappeared, and I'm like, I don't even know who I am anymore, or what my business is, or where my relationship is at. So, and the thing is, like, if you try and contract yourself down into this reality, it's going to hurt. It's not probably going to be very fun. So how many of you are trying to contract yourself into this space of this reality in order to locate you or find you, or in order to locate your business or find your business? And everything that is times a gazillion, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. We end up changing so much that your sense of the limited space that you used to call you changes. And what happens is then all of a sudden your awareness is exceeding, generally speaking, your level of allowance. So you also actually want to ask, with anything that's going on, like, is my awareness exceeding my allowance? And if you get a yes, what would it take for my allowance to exceed my awareness? Someone says yes, and this is where it seems like I'm trapped. I don't even know what I was talking about then. If you want to pop more information in the chat, that would be awesome. But I kind of get you're just like commenting on that. So again, start asking, like, and I'm giving you lots of tools in this live, but these are all the things that I've been playing with. So I can also go through and write some stuff down as well, just to give to you guys this to go through yourself anytime you're in this space. But what would it take for my allowance to exceed my awareness? And then I've been asking, what am I going to create myself as today? What can I create my business as today? And what would I like to choose? Because if you don't create you and your business, this reality will. Meaning, and like I said, if you pick up your phone within milliseconds, if you don't recognize that you are aware, and maybe that like funkiness or that heaviness or the contraction isn't actually yours, then this reality is literally now creating your reality, and including your reality with business. When you begin to become more aware and you have these awarenesses, you have to become more space in order to occupy the level of awareness that you actually have. You've got to become more comfortable with the awareness, and the way you become more comfortable is by becoming and occupying even more space. What space can I occupy and encompass? That's not what I've been asking. I've been asking, what space can I be to encompass the awareness that I be? What space can I be to occupy and encompass the awareness that I be? The other thing you can do, if you guys, and some of you listening would know this, but when you expand your energy out to the outside edges of the universe, it takes seconds, but I notice so many people forget to do that. Because when you're in that place of stuckness, stagnation, overwhelm, Again, how much have you contracted yourself to the size of your brain? So you can do the exercise where you can imagine, you can picture, you can visualize expanding your energy out to the outside edges of the universe. And do you guys notice even me mentioning that you have more space? Sarah says my audio is popping and cutting in and out. Can you let me know if it's still doing it? That would be awesome. I don't know if it's my audio or if it's your audio, Sarah. Is my audio good for everyone else? I'm not sure if I can change something over. Not here. Cool. Amazing. Okay, cool. Cool. So yeah, what space can I be to encompass the awareness that I be? Yeah, there is quite a big delay because I'm getting your comments like quite late, but that's what's kind of been happening with every live I've been on. And so the other thing that I kind of want to finish with is like with like confusion, with overwhelm, with anything that's actually showing up for you guys whenever, whether it's now, whether it's in the future, ask yourself, have I contracted my zone of awareness? And then what space can I occupy here that would give me the awareness of what's actually required next? And then one of my favorite questions is, where do I actually put my attention today? What's required next? Because remember, you asking these questions are going to go from you contracting that zone of awareness and contracting your space to fit into everybody else's reality to expanding it to have your reality. And the other thing with confusion, and I think I mentioned this on another live, is you want to ask with confusion, like, am I using this confusion as a way to stop myself? Because what most people don't realize, and I've done this so many times before, is that a lot of people create confusion as a way of showing that they're doing something without ever having to succeed. So what confusion and overwhelm and stuckness and stagnation are you all choosing to avoid the success you could be choosing? And everything that is times a gazillion, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And you have to get, and this isn't to make any of you guys wrong, but just to give you guys more awareness that everyone has their own kind of energy or thing that they use that they believe they can't go beyond. And for a lot of people, it's confusion. For a lot of people, it's overwhelm. And for me, that's definitely the thing that like I notice coming up more than anything. It's kind of this stagnation, the comparison, the not good enough energies, like all of those energies that I know are not my reality. But it's these energies that I actually use to stop myself. And particularly with probably a lot of you guys watching in humanoids, because they don't believe that they get business. So it's kind of this place where you justify the fact that you're confused, because you can go to, oh, well, I don't get business. And like, how many of you here listening don't believe that you get business? And is that actually true? It's like this, it was interesting. Like I noticed myself like ages ago, but I'd be like, oh, I'm not making money because this is confusing, or I'm not starting my business because this is confusing. What choice could you make for all of that to dissipate? And what choice could you be to have all of that dissipate with ease? That's my invitation to you guys. And how does it get any better? And the fifth and final thing that I've written here is to ask your business or any of your classes or any of your creations or your services or whatever it is, whatever you've noticed is kind of stuck or stagnant or not moving, have you become a life force of your own? What happens is when we begin to create certain classes, services, when we start creating our business, like our choice to have a business creates our business. But what happens is our business starts to become, there's this period where it's like the flow of energy is more of an outflow. it requires this constant state of outflow. You like kind of pushing energy, you kind of, doing all these things, getting systems set up and all that kind of stuff. So initially when you kind of create a class, a business, products, anything like that, there seems to be this more constant state of outflow. The thing is, when your business becomes a life force of its own, or a certain class or a creation becomes a life force of its own, it no longer requires that constant state of outflow. And now what happens is what occurs is your business then kind of like reverses the energy and starts this massive inflow of energy. And when it kind of hits that place just before it's about to go boom and expand. And this is the place where most people actually quit, because they go, well, all of a sudden I can't, quote unquote, feel my business. And all of a sudden it seems like everything's gone away, or it's disappeared, or it's not working. This is literally, and for me as well, I know myself now that the time I go, it's not working, I can't feel it anymore, I get things are stuck, is literally the time where it's about to create more than I ever imagined possible, but when it has this life force of its own and it's beginning to create itself. Energy never goes away, it just changes. And the thing is, when things change, 99% of the time, it's because it's about to get greater and better. So everywhere you guys have misidentified and misapplied, the energy going away in your business, or the energy disappearing in any of your creations or products, that your business has failed or it's gone away, can we destroy and uncreate that times a gazillion? Right, wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And really, I think with this conversation, like above anything else, when you kind of get to the place where you think you've lost it all, you're hating yourself, you're like, I'm the worst person ever, nobody loves me, I'm going to eat some worms, which like I have been there plenty of times before with my business. And when you kind of like, I'm an idiot, like nothing's working. And sometimes I've even got to the place where I'm like, oh, well, I might as well not be here, like, because this is kind of like I don't like the word purpose, but it's, what I'm doing this for. I'm here to create more consciousness on the planet. When and if you ever get to that place, just keep moving. Just put one foot in front of the other. Never give up, never give in, and never quit. Because literally every single time I have got to that place, right beyond that is everything you've ever asked for that's greater than what you ever imagined possible. Every single time that has happened, that is then what's occurred. So everything that brings up for all of you, and everything that doesn't allow you to truly claim, own, and acknowledge that with total ease, and everything that doesn't allow you to truly be, know, perceive, and receive the possibilities and the greatness that is there for you if you so choose, and if you keep moving, can we destroy and uncreate that times a gazillion? Right, wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Awesome. This has gone for a long time. I realized I had lots of things to talk about. 35 minutes. How does it get any better? Thank you so much for taking the time to listen into this episode and my show. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if it has been a contribution to you, please leave a 5-star review, subscribe to my show, and share this episode with anyone you know that may be looking to create their life as something greater. You can find more about me at Ashlee, ashlee-rose.com, and you can find more information about the tools of Access Consciousness at accessconsciousness.com.